What's up, my friends? Marissa here. I am doing kind of a spontaneous reading. Boy, if you don't lay your ass down, I said no noise if you're gonna stay in here. I kind of had an idea last night, that I was gonna do these, and my guides were like, Marissa, maybe you should pre-shuffle because you don't necessarily enjoy all the preparation. My Virgo sun really comes through, and I like to have it all prepped before, just so I can just do this. But I've been going through it, you guys. I had some intense Kundalini activations a few weeks ago, and then I went through a burnout period, and now I'm going through Kundalini activations again. So, I couldn't not last night, but the night before, I couldn't fall asleep till 3:30, and then the week that I had a few things that I had to be somewhere by 9 in the morning. It was just a lot. I only had 2 hours of sleep, and then today I woke up at 2:50 on the dot, and now it's 5 a.m. I laid in bed for a little bit, and I was like, yep, I'm not falling back asleep. So lots of energy happening. Was absorbing the planet there for a little bit, and I had a period where I was just so tired too. In between the two Kundalini activations, there was integration, and it's I would just have enough energy to get up, do my readings, whether it be personal or group or both, and get Maya's homeschooling done, get her ready for the day, breakfast, and then I would end up having to take a 2 to 3 hour power nap. I know, it's such a hard life, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining, spirit. But yeah, then I would wake up so disoriented, and just there's so much energy going on the planet, so it's been a lot, but I'm here for the journey. It's been a motherfucking ride, but nothing that we're not used to, okay? So here we are. All to say, here we are. Oh yeah, and I wanted to get these readings out today. I'm kind of I don't feel rushed, but I am cramming this in and hoping to film and edit today, because I'm going to the coast with Maya and my good friend Adriana and her daughter, who's Maya's age. So we're gonna have a little girls trip getaway, and the water. So yeah, happy to be here with you guys, and just wanted to give you guys something so there's not too much of space between everything, the time that I'm gone and whenever the last video was, by the time I can film a new one in the last video. So anyways, okay, I'm rambling. There's a lot of energy, so I'm putting that to good use today. 4 crystals to choose from today, because I am going to do everything on camera, shuffle everything. Maybe we'll see how it goes, but there's just 4 piles to choose from. That's all you need to know right now. And whenever you're feeling ready, we're going to hop right into these readings. What's up, group number 1? Here is your reading for, I don't think I said this in the intro. I told you guys everything else about my entire life except what the intention for this reading was. So these are channeled messages from your guides. I might do first person, I might do third person, I'm not sure yet. I'm just kind of go with the flow. But yeah, I had 3 decks and only cards came out of 2. So I'm just going with the flow. But we're going to get right into your reading. So first and foremost, your guides are coming through and saying that this new connection that you feel, and your ideas around what the connection is here for, is pretty spot on. Whatever you feel like it is here for, however you would interpret the energies and the purpose of it, your guides are coming through and saying they're not too concerned with labels at this time, and they don't want you to be too concerned with labels at this time either. This individual, this person that has entered your life, or this person that's going to enter your life, is going to bring an immense amount of transformation. They're going to show you parts of yourself that you, I don't want to say are not comfortable with, but parts of yourself that you haven't felt in a long time. And I feel like it's a type of connection that you've always been hoping for, the type of connection that you maybe almost wrote off because you thought it was too good to be true. You thought that no one could leave you in a space of feeling both like your goddess and both like your empowered self, both independent and also this person that, or an individual that also makes you feel so connected to your inner child and your eternal child. I feel like there's a lot of mirroring that is happening with this individual, or that's going to happen with this individual. They're bringing a lot of transformation. This is an extremely high level soulmate dynamic that is coming into your life. They're definitely a part of your higher path and your destiny. I'm hearing that this person is showing and unlocking things within you that other people haven't. This connection is really surprising you. This connection is something that you almost wrote off as being too good to be true, or you almost tucked away as like, okay, I'm never going to find that. I'm always going to have to settle, or I'm always going to have to make some sort of like, draw some sort of line in terms of what I'm experiencing and what is actually possible. So what I think I can experience, what I think I can get out of a soulmate type of dynamic or a love connection, and what I think I can and what I'm actually seeing in my external reality. So I feel like this is someone, if you don't see this person in your reality already, your guides are saying that you can feel them. You've been already getting synchronicities of them. You see two birds flying together in a sky, the Lover's card. I feel like this is someone that you've already been intuiting on a heart level. You're already experiencing heart chakra activations. You'll see something in a movie. You'll see a couple and you start to feel very nostalgic, right? That's because you could intuit the relevancy of this person entering your life. And I am hearing, if there's been a question of whether or not this person is someone you can trust, or this connection is someone you can trust, I'm hearing absolutely. This is in so many ways a return to innocence. I feel like this person also has very innocent qualities. Yeah, I am getting a sense of a lot of mirroring happening. I feel like you, pile number one, have been through an incredible amount of transformation. You've done a lot of growth. You've been through a lot. You've kept your heart open. Even throughout the most tumultuous time periods of your life, you've kept your heart open. And I feel like you've been in periods where time and time again, it's just felt like you're breaking through one threshold after another. It's you're breaking through one shell, one container of yourself after another. It's like a never-ending state of transformation. And I feel like you've never actually come across someone that you feel like is on your level. Like, it almost feels like you're always settling. Again, that definitely is coming through. It feels like you've had to settle. It feels like, am I ever going to meet someone that's on my level? Am I ever going to meet someone? Am I just going to be like this, this maiden forever and never the wife or never the queen, right? Am I just going to forever remain this person, right, that is single and forever ready to mingle? And I want to say, it doesn't matter if you're a man watching this too, take it how it resonates. But in general, this is regardless of your gender, the gender of your body, this is just telling me, just like, this is the divine feminine. So this is the part of you that is this is the part of you that doesn't become so thorny of life that when someone does finally come around, that they can't smell your bloom, or they can't smell and just like take in your essence, right? I feel like this is also, regardless of your gender, just like trusting. I feel like I just saw 444 on the clock. There might have been a mistrust. There might have been a mistrust in life overall, or just like almost a bitterness of like wondering if you would, wondering why something hadn't happened, or wondering, maybe you even tended to linger on past connections because you felt like maybe someone from your past who was like a tiny glimmer of whatever, maybe you were just always holding on to these past connections, and you started to develop kind of thorns because it's like, you felt like at some point, or in most dynamics, you were getting the short end of the stick. But I'm hearing that spirit was wanting you to become very whole and harmonious within yourself. And also I'm hearing for a large majority of you too, by removing the romantic element from your dynamics, it's allowed you to become much more of an authentic friend to people and establish a much more authentic connection with other individuals. Because I am hearing for some of you guys, there has been some guards up for you guys. There was some trauma that occurred throughout your incarnation that caused you to kind of close your heart and build a wall up, build barriers up around your heart, right? So I am hearing that it's almost like spirit didn't want to bring you something. I'm seeing 555 on the clock too. Spirit didn't want to bring you something, or bring a high level soulmate counterpart dynamic into your life until it really felt like you were at a place to where you wouldn't sabotage, or you were at a place to where you could acknowledge this good thing. Versus in the past, I feel like what I'm hearing is that you are drawn to more of those toxic undertones. You're drawn to that kind of adrenaline high, and those people that in a weird way mirrored that traumatic energy that you experienced early in incarnation, whether from friends, whether from lovers, whether from parents. I'm hearing that you have developed some sort of armor and protection around you, that spirit was like, okay, we're just going to keep pretty like neutral platonic relationships in your life. This doesn't mean that you've probably had, like, you could even be the type of person that like has flings and has romantic connections start, and then it fizzles out, and then it turns into into a friendship. And generally those dynamics are pretty interesting, because what I'm hearing here is that you start to see the contrast of like when you're solely going after something because you want something from it, from, you know, just being honest with about how romantic connections work, we generally want something from the other person, whether it's sexual gratification, whether it's some sort of like, I want you to fill this void or whatever in me, right? And so when you have that contrast of how you relate to someone purely romantically, and then when the romance fizzles and then it has no choice but to develop into a more friendship, more of a platonic type of connection, then you see how what true love is and how that true love is born, right? And so Spirit was kind of giving you that contrast with beings that were mature enough. They were at a level of emotional maturity as well, to where they could handle that shift from something romantic to something that was much more platonic. Because I am hearing, my pile number ones, is that when you come into someone's life, they know that they're on the right path. When you come into someone's life, you are someone that they don't want to let go of. They just want to forever hold on to you, because you are a rare gem. You are an extremely pure heart, is what I'm hearing. You are an extremely deep lover, very giving of yourself. You've had to set boundaries and learn, of course, but ultimately I'm hearing that even past lovers, they'd rather have you in their life in some way, shape, or form. And you know, that was that's a divine part of your blueprint and your contract within itself, because now both of you guys can see, because you do tend to attract other people that also have that kind of codependent, whether it's anxious attachment or avoidant attachment or whatever, you do tend to, for whatever reason, attract people that are very addicted to your energy and have a hard time letting you go. But for both of you, you start to see how beautiful it is when that romantic spark, you know, as you learn how to go into all relational dynamics with less guards up, and you're just trusting the divine, you're trusting Spirit, you're trusting where you're led, you're really coming into yourself and trusting yourself to make the right decisions for yourself and the people that you allow to take up space in your life. I am hearing the more that you do that, pile number one, especially with these people that it has turned into something platonic, or just maybe you're just have a lot of friends around you, the more that you bring this part of yourself out, the more you're doing that healing of that inner child. And so you're also healing, you know, you're going through that transformation of those old timelines and of those old karmic cords of where you felt unsafe to really show up as you were, and you felt like you know, in those situations where you did show up pure, and when you did show up as yourself, and then you were bullied for it, or you were misunderstood, or you were attacked, or whatever it was, right? So I'm hearing that someone significant has come into your life, or is coming into your life, and it's going to feel like a breath of fresh air. You're going to feel like, oh my God, is this real? This is almost too good to be true. I'm hearing that you guys are going to really be on your game in terms of taking it slow, in terms of letting, you know, building that foundation, like understanding that romance can be there, but then also you've had this enough contrast, and your guides have really pumped the brakes on romantic connections for you from some time, or at least drawn a lot of awareness around things because they seem short and sweet, not long lasting. You're like, what's wrong with me? But they're like, we just wanted you to see the contrast of like a solid foundation of friendship is really important, because when you start to trust someone, you keep that eternal child alive, right? And that's when you start to really facilitate and create this beautiful container of growth and transformation, and of supporting each other's divine destiny, and not inhibiting each other, right? And really just adding to the fullness of each other. And so this is really beautiful. I mean, this is something that you guys have absolutely, I feel like, been intuiting for a while. Now you guys might be coming to this reading like wondering about this person, like the significance of this person, feeling like it's different, right? If they feel different, and if it feels like a long time coming, and if it even almost feels like too good to be true, my pile number ones, I'm hearing that it's not, and that, you know, don't let those old narratives and those old barriers, those old traumatic tendencies take over, because they might be sparked, but I'm hearing that the purity of the connection will help eradicate it, and it's going to feel very different from past lovers and past things, past connections, because I am hearing that this person is up to speed with where you are, right? This person, and I feel like it's like you never felt like you'd ever hear those words, right? Because I am hearing that you guys just tend to grow really fast. You go through a lot of evolutions, you go through a lot of transformations, and so I feel like you're just feeling very feminine, you're feeling very sensual, you're feeling very magnetic, you're feeling very attractive. And this person, like if you're wondering how they're feeling, I feel like they're feeling everything that you are, and it's a very intense, very divine, very beautiful connection that I'm seeing, with a lot of love, like a lot of purity of heart. But don't get me wrong, there definitely is some like a deep desire of like that physical exchange, and that physical symbolic representation of this union that you guys are feeling on a spiritual level. So I'm going to leave this reading here for now. Blessings on your journey. Please like this video, comment down below, subscribe if you've been here before, and I hope I see you soon. What's up, my pal number 2? I realized after I did the intro that I rambled so long about my own life that I didn't really talk about what this reading was, but I mean, obviously you'll see in the title, but this is a channeled message from your team behind the scenes. I might go back and forth between first person and third person, not sure. I'm just kind of rolling with it today, but yeah, this is your message from your team behind the scenes. So we're going to get right into it. So pile number 2, it's been a long time coming for you. You guys have been working extremely hard on your path behind the scenes. You have been strengthening your connection to the spirit world. You've been strengthening your wings. You've been growing into your wings. I am hearing that it has felt like a long time coming, and also at the same time, you are very surprised at your immense transformation. It seems like, I feel like to people that might have been watching over your journey or looking at your journey from the outside in, people that knew you even just a year ago, I'm hearing that they are just so incredibly amazed by your transformation. There might have been some sort of significant experience that you went through where you really had to stick up for yourself, or where you really had to put your foot down and walk away from certain people, certain groups of individuals. And, it seems like you had to really be very discerning of who you were and were not allowing into your life, right? And I'm hearing that was a big mark for you. That was a huge, it's almost like you drew a line in the sand at that moment in time, or the more that you start to do that, you really solidify yourself, and you really solidify your worth and the bullshit and what you are and are not going to put up with, because I am hearing that you guys have really just you've really grown into who you are and who you came here to be, right? And I feel like whatever you're here to do, there's a lot of people that are watching you. There's a lot of people that are in awe of who you are. They feel that, they want to judge you. I feel like there's some people that might even want to try to look for something that's wrong with you, but they can't find anything. It's like even the things that you might consider a flaw, even the things that you might consider like, okay, this is something that I have to work on, or even something that they can see might be perceived as a flaw. They're like, but they see how it is a perfect fragment and fractal of who it is that you came here to be, right? So there's a lot coming through about your spiritual eye. Like there's a lot coming through about you guys having very incredible psychic gifts. I just heard psychic activations are happening for you at this time too. So you guys might also be going through an immense amount of kundalini or something happening that, really kind of shows you the relativity of time with this Kairos card. This talks about like mythic time. It's interesting that we do have the mystic coming up here, but yeah, ultimately, I'm hearing that it feels like a long time coming. I also continue to hear the phrase, ye shall be restored the years that the locusts have eaten. I'm hearing that you guys come from a lot of shadow healing. There was a lot that happened in your past. There was a lot that seemed like you had to heal. It's stuff that you almost like judged yourself for in the past. It's been a long time coming in terms of you feeling like you were in union with your divine path. I am hearing too that you're drawing in a lot of counterparts at this time. It seems like everything that you had hoped for just a few years ago that like seemed like things that you had to really visualize, or that you really had to get your energy field acclimated to, or like, visualization in my most humble of opinions is more so to get ourselves in the experiential realms of the feeling of what is already a part of our divine blueprint. But if we're living more of the fated life, and as we make that transition from the fated life to the destiny life, visualization can be really serving in terms of helping us to acclimate to that energy, right? To the energy of what it feels like to be in alignment with the divine blueprint. It's not necessarily like the visualization techniques is not necessarily for what us to see, what we're seeing, right? What we're seeing with our spiritual eye. The point of that is not to have what we see here to be what we see here, but it's about the sensation. Again, it's about training your field to recognize what is and what is not in alignment with your divine blueprint, right? And so I'm hearing that there's been a lot of healing that you've done, a lot of shadow work that you've done. I'm hearing that, even though you had a lot of darkness that you come from, like I literally am hearing born from the dark, like, where do caterpillars come from? Caterpillars come from the darkness, right? They just don't know what else to do but cocoon themselves. And I am hearing that your guides are, your guides are just honestly coming through, man, and saying that this person just went into the darkness like, because they had no idea what else to do. And I am hearing too, it was a big part of your mission. It was a big part of why you came to this planet. It was a big part of what you're here to help heal. You took on a lot of collective karma, man. You came in and you took on a lot of the shadow of Earth. And I'm also hearing too, because when I saw this Judge card come up, I didn't get that you guys were judgmental at all. I almost heard that you were non-judgmental. And generally, when we know so much of the psyche, of our own inner psyche, and the psyche of humanity, and the fact that, yeah, we're going to have light and dark as long as you're on this planet. Like, if you guys are not at a point to where you are accepting of your shadow, I am sorry, but I do not trust you. I love you, but I don't trust you. I don't trust people that do not acknowledge they have a shadow side, because they're more likely the people to be caught off guard by their shadow and to not know the difference between their ego and themselves and what's right for, there's a lot of projection there, right? But when someone really understands their shadow, really understands the realms of the shadow, and really understands themselves holistically as holistic beings, I really trust that person, because I know that there's nothing that they're trying to hide from myself, but from themselves, more importantly, right? And so they're operating from a lot more clarity. They're operating from greater levels of truth, because they're not trying to run away from an aspect of them that is inevitable, and that is a very essential and integral part of this human incarnation. But overall, I'm hearing your guides are coming through and saying they're just acknowledging the amount of progress you've made. They are acknowledging how much, like, you are, I'm hearing a shining star, a shining light in the lives of other people. You give people hope, man. You give people, because of your journey, because of what you went through. I'm hearing there's a lot of layers to the shadow that you took on for the collective of humanity at this time. One of the biggest things that you do is people see your transformation. You have been restored. Yeah, ye have been restored the years that the locusts have eaten. So essentially that means, like, when we come into alignment with spiritual union, when we start to live from the levels of spirit versus the levels of the carnal mind, it's like time works differently. And it's almost like too that all of that time that went to doubt and insecurity and overthinking, etc. It's almost like you look back and you're like, what the fuck? Like, how deep down that rabbit hole of doubt and insecurity I was. I have no idea how I am so confident and how I've come so far in such a short amount of time, right? That's this notion of kairos. That's this notion of mythic time. It works differently. It's the path of the 5D and the spiritual path is much different. The rules work different for you than when you are purely immersed in the level of the physical, and when you're abiding only by man's law, when you're abiding only by the law of the 3D. So I'm hearing, again, your guides are saying you've come very far. You are definitely here to, I would be surprised if you're not working in the realms of spirit somehow, or if you're not extremely spiritually well versed. If you know a lot about different planets, or if you know a lot about astrology, wouldn't be surprised if you just are, essentially what the fuck I'm trying to spit out here is, like, you guys just know your shit. Like this, and you don't just know it conceptually, you feel it. You're embodying these codes, and your guides are essentially saying that there are, if you're not already seeing it, I mean, you are drawing a lot of attention to you. You are drawing a lot of people. I don't want to say followers, but I did hear that. So that might be relevant for some of you guys if you're very active on social media. But ultimately, I am hearing that you guys are fully in alignment with your highest timeline. I mean, there's obviously, we're going to stray side to side, or we're going to feel more or less in or out of alignment some days, but I am hearing that you guys are pretty locked in. You guys are, you guys are walking your walk. You guys are talking your talk and walking the talk, and everything, and you're helping other people to come into union with themselves. You're starting to be reflected back to the purity that's in your own heart. You're starting to see that purity in the hearts of others, and people understand you. You're finally find yourself around people that understand you, people that get you, people that you don't have to over-explain yourself around. There's like inside jokes because you're like cosmic beings, right? These are your cosmic brothers and sisters that you're calling in, and it's people that don't judge you. You guys don't judge each other. You really honor each other's journeys. You honor everything that's made this person and these other people who they are, and they're able to honor that within you too. I am hearing that you're drawing in more people that expect the best from you and hope the best from you, and they anticipate radiate nothing but good intentions from you, even if they don't always understand where you're coming from, and even if sometimes their own trauma, past shadow is triggered. They always assume the best from you, just because time and time again you've always ever showed them that you are here, you are not fucking around, that you are really about the mission, you are really about that path of purification, and that you are here for true freedom. You are really here to experience freedom on every level, freedom of spirit, freedom of emotion, freedom from your own fucking mind, right? Freedom from the shackles and limitations of humanity. And so they really trust you. They really trust you because they've seen, they see and deeply feel where your intentions are. And so I wouldn't be surprised if you also just, again, have had in your soul's blueprint the desire to change people's lives and work with the lives of other people, because it's literally part of your blueprint, and you guys are at a place of maturity and advancement to where you are going to make lasting, lifetime after lifetimes, deep soul, cellular level type of healing and impact on the lives of others. I mean, you can't help it. It's always been part of your codes, but now you're starting to trust it. Now you don't doubt yourself. The scales have finally tipped to where you're owning, you're embodying your confidence. I mean, you just radiate. You guys shine. I just see like a burst, like a light. I'm seeing this light coming from the solar plexus and the heart chakra. Like, you guys just draw people into you. People, like, I'm hearing your nectar. People just want to be in your field. People want to soak up your codes. You bring a lot of restoration. You bring a lot of light. You bring a lot of clarity into the lives of other people. You also help other people understand this aspect about themselves. Like, I'm just seeing that you come across so equalized, even though people place you as being so wise, and they're like, this fucking person is God sent. This person is not from this planet. Literally, you guys might even resonate with that, this not being your native planet. But regardless of what other people think, what they feel from you is that this is my person. This person sees me. You fucking see people, because you're not speaking to their limitations. You are not speaking to their limited self and their misperceived self. You are speaking to the God within them. And so that's what you're drawing out from other people, is the God within, right? Because that's what you're seeing. That's what you're speaking to. And so they can't help but be around you, because you're speaking to the truth of who they are. Whereas most other people will speak to people's karmas. They'll speak to people's projections. They'll speak to their perceptions. They'll essentially speak to their egoic, limited mind, right? And there's a difference when you're having that soul talk, and when you're having just like mental fuckery, right? There's a difference, and you can feel it, and you draw out the God in other people. And I mean, this is a powerful group, pile number 2. This is a beautiful journey that you are on. If there's any question of if you're on the right path, let this be your confirmation you are. If you're not already seeing the fruits of it externally, because I am hearing that you guys are deeply meant to work with other people, and sometimes when we're not already, when we're like, okay, why do I feel this way and why am I not seeing it? It's because your guides are really coming through and saying that there have been some really important foundational things that needed to be laid. And so by the time that you start to amass more and more people, that you are at a place of security within yourself, that you are not swayed by success nor failure. You're really solid in your connection with spirit, with higher self. And so, that's the best guide that we have, one that is so they deeply trust themselves, they deeply trust life, and ultimately their faith is in God, their faith is in the God and other people. And so that's why you have this kind of divine quality about you, and why you draw out the divine qualities in other people. And that's why you kind of created a fucking divine masterpiece for your life in general, is what I'm hearing. It feels like a very beautiful bubble reality that feels so different from what everyone else seems to be experiencing. You just have really created like your own heaven on earth. It's incredible, and it's only getting brighter, it's only getting better, it's only getting more joyful from here. So stay on it. You guys are, I'm deeply proud of you, and I'm feeling that pride coming from your guides. Like, your guides are like so proud of you. So keep on it, pile number 2. I hope this brought clarity, peace, confirmation to your heart today, and I hope I see you soon. Oh, excuse me. Okay. I'm sorry. That was a weird way. That was a really weird way to start a reading. But what's up, you guys? Pile number 3. We're just keeping it real on this channel. So I didn't really introduce the beginning of my intro didn't introduce what these readings are about, but you can probably tell by the title that these are channeled messages from your team behind the scenes, is what I call them. So yeah, we're just gonna hop right into this reading. So first of all, pile number 3, I'm hearing that you guys have made a ton of sacrifices in your life. Your guides are commending you, because I'm hearing that you guys have had to walk away from things in the past that you didn't want to, that you were not fully ready to walk away from. I'm hearing that because you have held so close to your vision, and because, again, although there were some hard things for you to let go of in terms of like attachments. Ultimately, you could deeply feel that there was something bigger for you. There was something bigger waiting for you. And no matter how young you were, I am hearing that you've always had this sense of like, I came here for something big. I came here to do something big for the planet. I came here to impact the planet in a very specific way. Your guides have always been very close to you. I'm hearing some of you guys have even been aware of them from a young age. I'm hearing ultimately though that they are commending you for how, even when you were like more limited in terms of your capacity to be able to see and hear your guides and communicate, and even, you know, before you even had your initial awakenings, I am just hearing that they are just so astounded. Like, they never doubted you, but they're just like, they understand how complex it can be to wake up within a human incarnation, and how easy it can be to stay asleep, and how easy it can be to just follow the masses and to kind of get swept up in just the energy and the stimulation nation, and just being so confused. And they are just so in awe and just so proud of the progress you made and how far you've come and the sacrifices. Like, I'm hearing that things have really felt like it's been really hard for you to walk away from certain connections, certain relationships, certain friendships. And it's like, because a deeper part of you knew that it didn't make the cut and that you were here for something else. And it's like, when other people were getting really swept up in it, and I don't mean to compare, but this is just like in terms of contrast, where other people could get swept up in bullshit and shit that doesn't matter, and just like how people can get so swept up in relationships. And I've been there, done that. This is not coming from me. This is coming from your guides, okay? It's like, you have, even if you've gotten swept up in that to a small degree, I feel like there's always been a part of you that's like, you've always saved a bigger part of your heart for your mission and for spirit and for what you're here for. I am hearing that there is this like very romantic side to you, and very kind of like hopeless romantic sense. And I don't mean to say hopeless romantic, but I am just hearing that you are very romantic, and that you like to be courted, and you like to feel like you are desired, and you're very sensual, and you really enjoy your sexuality and your sensuality, right? But I feel like ultimately, like, you have not, it's like you saw what the cost was of, sacrificing yourself for the wrong reasons, right? You have seen throughout your incarnation that when you were sacrificing your eternal internal child, that at the cost for what? You know, that was at the cost of what you were here to do and what you were here to create for the world, right? If you guys were maybe drawn to pile number 1, I would also check that out. That's only if you were drawn to it, because these 2 cards are coming up again. And I was like, whoa, I really shuffle these. So overall, I am hearing that you guys, your guides are commending you. I'm hearing that you are sitting in your seat of authority. You are sitting in your seat of being a divine creator of your incarnation. I'm hearing that you don't really answer to other people. You really do your best within your means, within your integrity, within your job, within the framework that is your incarnation. I am hearing that you have come so far in terms of not taking bullshit from other people. You have come so far in terms of really relying on yourself, to really trust yourself, man. I made a video the other day on TikTok about trusting yourself in terms of parenting, and it really showed me, I'm about to make a whole last video on my main channel, but it really showed me where the collective is at in terms of trusting themselves. I really see how the mechanism of control, a major aspect of being able to control other people, is when you have convinced the people that they cannot trust themselves, right? Because then the different responses, there was one that was like, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of projection happening there. But there were also other responses that you could feel that the people were like, they were like, okay, yeah, people can trust themselves if they're healthy. People can trust themselves if they're A, B, and C. It's like, no, the reason why people are unhealthy mentally, spiritually, emotionally is because they don't trust themselves. Who is yourself? The innermost part of you is God, right? So when you don't trust yourself, when you don't trust that inner voice, that still small voice that the Bible talks about, that all of these different religious texts have talked about throughout the ages, if you don't trust that, you're saying you don't trust God. And so it was interesting to see like the hesitation there was around trusting yourself, right? And it's like a true leader, a true person is someone that they have learned how to trust themselves because they really trust God, right? And so I feel like it's this weird dichotomy of like, oh, I can't trust myself, I can't trust other people to make the right decisions. But we see where the fuck that's gotten us. This is exactly why we are at the point on our planet that we're at. We don't trust ourselves to make the right decisions, so we sure as hell aren't going to trust someone else to make the right decision because we don't trust ourselves, right? It's like it's just going to create this perpetual feedback loop. But the second we start to trust ourselves and we trust our own journey, where we become, you remove the church and you realize that it's just between you and God, as Ram Dass would say, like that is someone that you can't fuck with, right? And that's someone that when you understand karma, when you understand the soul's destiny, when you understand the soul's blueprint, that's when you're like, I have no fucking idea what's right for you, and who would I be to say that I knew it was right for you, right? But again, the more you trust yourself, the more you begin to trust other people as well, right? But you can't have the cake and eat it too. You can't want to trust yourself but then question if you're healthy enough to do it. No, you have to, it's like a muscle. You have to build it. Where does, dis-ease, disharmony is from not inherently trusting your goodness, not trusting the inherent qualities of the divine working within you, of the divine mind, divine intelligence working through you. Sorry, that was a rant pile number 3. I'm sorry you had to get the rant of that. But ultimately, I'm hearing that you guys are at a place where you are that. Like, it's so beautiful because, I am seeing it as rare. It is rare to come across people that truly fucking trust themselves. And it's this weird, it's this interesting dichotomy because you don't trust yourself. It's not like pile 3 trusts their small limited self. It's like you have gotten to a place to where you see how fucking insane you are, right? That's the sacrifice. That's the moving on. You understand, I cannot continue to perpetuate this toxicity within my mind and without my external environment. I have to get more discerning of where I'm taking advice from. So you've learned to take your advice from spirit with this Hierophant card. You've learned to go to God itself, God herself, God himself, whatever, the creator, right? There's a lot here about your connection with your creatorship. And that's what the Tao is. That's what the way is. It's like when you get this infinite intelligence, man, it works in really subtle ways, right? And it works in ways that if we're not open to it, we're going to bump a lot up against our external reality. But when we're really receptive to the way that the divine mind works, divine receptivity, divine nonchalance, it's like when you're really following the subtle stream of that, it's like you'll be taking down courses and pathways that you're like, okay, if your logical mind was too involved, you wouldn't. But because you're so tapped in, you're like, I'm going to answer only to this, my emotional guidance system and where I'm called, where I can feel the well springs of my soul drawing me towards. Because of that, I'm hearing that it's like people are like, how is this person creating this life? Like, how do things come to this person so easily? It seems like you're onto the next thing after another, or whenever you have an idea, it manifests very quickly, or whatever it is that you do, it seems you move on, you move through things very quickly, right? It seems like you don't stick around one place very long, but somehow it always works out for you because your sense of security, your sense of authority is not in what most man puts their sense of authority and security in. You put it in God, whereas a lot of people put it in mind, concepts, ideas, right? And I'm hearing at this time too, you have a lot of people that look up to you. I am getting this idea that there's a lot of people that want to be in partnership with you, whether that's romantic partnership, whether that's they just want to be your friend, whether that's they just see you as someone who would be fucking bomb to have in their life, man. I'm hearing that just people, when you interact with people, whatever way you do, whether it's your cashier, whether it's, a small interaction over social media, whether it's looking at someone over in your car, whatever it is, the small interactions you have with people last. Whether it's the rest of the day, the small interactions where they're like, whoa, that person was really different, that person was really cool, or whether it's a fucking lifetime, right? Who you are, pile number 3, makes a huge difference. I'm trying not to drop too many F-bombs, but who you are makes such an incredible difference. You have no idea. Your guides are saying pile 3 does not know the extent to which they affect the lives of others. Pile 3 does not truly see the amount of change, the amount of growth, the amount of transformation they have gone through. Pile 3 does not actually see how many people look at them and are like, I would marry this person if I even thought they would give me the time of day. I'm hearing a lot of people don't tell you how it really is, or they don't tell you how it is that they really feel because they assume you already know. And there's a lot of intimidation factor because you do come across as this very authoritative person, this person that really knows who they are. And so other people can almost compare themselves to you. Other people wonder if they measure up to you. And because you see the God, because you talk to the God in other people, even though their minds are saying one thing, they feel so safe to be around you. You are a true leader on this earth. You are so connected. Yeah, I'm hearing that pile number 3 is starting to find their inner child again. They're starting to laugh more. You're not taking yourself so seriously. It's this weird dichotomy where you take it serious, but you don't take it too serious to the point that you're not that you forget that it's all for fun, right? It's like you take your connection to God, you take your connection, you take your incarnation very seriously, and you understand part of taking things seriously is not taking it too serious, right? It's that delicate balance, it's that delicate dance. But I am hearing ultimately your visions are coming to fruition. If you're not already seeing this, if it's a little trickle right now, you're going to see it pouring in very soon. Everything that you've been seeing, everything that you're like, okay, that you really had to visualize a lot in the past, you're going to finally see that wellspring coming in. People want to help you. People, right person, right time, right conversation, right everything. The resources, like people really, I'm hearing that people really want to help you. People really want to be some sort of force aiding in your mission because they see where you're going. And it's not like they want to piggyback off of you, but people deeply believe in you, and people deeply feel changed by who you are and your authenticity, that they're like, this person has fucking got it. This is my person. I want to help them, right? You're drawing in a lot of this community type of spirit. You're building your community. You're starting to find your tribe. It's going to come in. If you're not already seeing it, it's coming in, and people just want to work with you, right? People just see you as this incredible being, and it's because you're so in tune with your humanity. You're also so in tune with your divinity. You see that they're not separate. They're very much so the same. And because of it, you help other people accept themselves. And you finally accept yourself. You finally accept this very child part of you, and you also accept this part of you that is also very romantic. You accept this part of you that's had to walk away, and you accept your trials and the tribulations and the person you've been, and that it's not always been perfect. It's not always felt good, but it is perfect and it is good. At the end of the day, pile number 3, you've come a long way, and I'm hearing that you are your true sons of authority, and that's been a long time coming for you. And also people see you. People feel that where you speak from is not mind. You speak from the wellspring of knowledge within, eternal, internal knowledge. It comes from source. It's channeled, right? It's not regurgitated information. It's truth, and it's coming through. It's really being filtered through this unique way, right? Through your own unique colors, your unique expression in a way that is authentic to you, and people know you're not bullshitting them, and they really see you as this powerful force to be reckoned with in this incarnation. So I'm going to leave this reading here for now. Pile number 3, thank you for being here. Please like this video. If it resonated, comment down below. Subscribe to my channel, and I hope I see you soon. What's up, pile number 4? Here is your reading for channeled messages from your guides, which I was ranting. I was rambling in the beginning, so I didn't even mention what the hell these readings were about, but of course the title kind of gave it away to you, I hope. But yeah, these are just channeled messages from your team behind the scene. I just kind of wanted to leave it open for your guides to come through and just say whatever they needed to say to whoever was drawn to these readings. So right away, pile number 4, I'm hearing that you will find the truth, the answers that you're seeking for when you go to the river, when you go to the forest. There's a lot here coming through about there's something that you're kind of hunting for an answer here. There's something that has been triggered in your external reality that I'm hearing is going to be different for each and every single one of you, but it's almost like Spirit is like, don't take the bait of assuming you know what this is about. Don't take the bait of assuming that this situation is about the actual situation. So when I hear temptation, I think of the knowledge of good and evil with the devil card, right? I think of Adam and Eve, the knowledge of good and evil. It's not that good and evil actually exists, right? It's the knowledge of good and evil. It's the idea. And also I'm hearing it's the idea about do not judge after appearances. So it's not about what's happening on the level of surface. It's about what is the spiritual meaning behind whatever is happening, because we do have crown chakra coming up here. So there is something that you guys are seeking, right? The Aletheia talks about embracing shadow and truth, and kind of coming into this feeling and sensation of you can breathe. I'm hearing that's one of the reasons why the guides want to take you to nature, take you by the water, by waterfalls, going on a long hike, where you're walking next to a stream or something, because when you're feeling that in one area, so when you're feeling that sense of, I can breathe, I don't have to worry about it, it's all going to be good, when you give yourself permission to just embody that, you're going to make it a lot easier for divine guidance to come through. I'm hearing there's too much of your ego involved right now. When I say ego, there's too much of your identity that is swept up in whatever it is that you are concerned about at this time. There's too much of you trying to figure it out, because I'm hearing that there's a large part of you that there might be some shame, there might be some embarrassment, there might be some fear, some security, financial issues. Again, it's going to be different for everyone. But there's something that is like perpetuating this thought loop. You're bound to this thought loop because you're overly identified with it. I don't want to gaslight you guys in a spiritual way and say that it's illusion, so you shouldn't be worried about it, right? If it's happening within your incarnational experience, it's relevant for you. It's karma for you to clear, either for yourself or for the collective, but it doesn't matter if it's in your field, it's for you to clear, right? Clear it. And so I'm hearing that you're hunting for an answer, you're seeking for an answer, and it's almost like it feels like it's a very narrow hole, because it is. Okay, so it almost feels like it's a really narrow hole that you, like, when we are too zoomed up, right? When we're too zoomed up in our, like, too close to what's playing out in the screen of our awareness, we don't allow much space for truth to come in, right? And so Spirit is helping you, wanting you to expand, give space. Spirit wants to help expand your levels of perception. And whatever is happening is a permission slip and is a gateway to help you holistically expand your levels of perception. This is a catalyst. This is a permission slip in one specific area of your life, something that feels like very grueling and it continues to eat away your life force. It continues to eat away. This is eating up a lot of your life force, right? This is eating up a lot of the energy that could help facilitate much more harmonious experience in your life, and that just can facilitate more peace and facilitate more of this awareness that you can't do anything wrong, right? It's like when we're so caught up in the realms of temptation, we're so caught up in the realms of karma, the realms of mind, it's like what Ram Dass would often say is there's no room to breathe, right? There's no room. Like when you can be mired by the play of your existence and then laugh at it, like, oh my god, this is such a shitty fucking situation, and then be like, all right, I guess I'm in a shitty fucking situation. Like, that kind of lighthearted humor around it, that's the divine. There's just enough space there for the divine to come through the crack, right? It's like you gotta make some space, even if it's the smallest little narrowest hole, right? You gotta make a little bit of space for the divine to come through. I feel like there's something that's happening in your life that is just like, your guides are telling me this person is just so lost in it, right? This pile number 4 is just so caught up in the confusion, and it's not like pile 4. It's not like pile number 4. Pile number 4 generally feels very on their game. They feel like very connected to the divine, oftentimes than not. They feel like they kind of know what's going on, where they're going, where they're moving, and this is kind of created like a block, but I'm hearing that this is creating a lot of motion and a lot of forward momentum. Like there's a lot to whatever is happening, whatever this catalyst was, than what pile number 4 just thinks it is, right? There's a lot of progress that you're making, not just in this in this sense of you wanting to see through a more expanded lens, so you can feel more peaceful about whatever situation is occurring or whatever trigger happened in your life, right? So this is holistically helping you see, like this is going to holistically keep your paradigm at a more expanded level, right? I'm hearing that generally you guys are pretty open, generally you guys are pretty connected to the divine, but there's something that has happened within your incarnation that is like making you go back and forth between this like good, this sense of good and evil, this sense of being right and wrong, this sense of being a good or bad person, whatever it is. And so this is a permission slip to see more through the eyes of God, which is essentially, it says, you know, truth is this and that. It's not this or that. It's this and that. It's good and bad. It's good and evil. It's like embracing duality, right? And then because of that, you transcend the realms of duality, right? So I feel like we get lost in this devil kind of energy when it's like we've taken the bait to assume that something other people are doing is bad or something that we've done is bad, but it's taking the bait that they're believing in more than one power, believing in two powers, two separate powers. There's only one. There is only one law, and the law is one. And everything else, everything is a distortion of light. There's one light, and everything is a distortion, or another way of saying that, everything else is a fractaled component of that one light, right? It doesn't mean it's evil, doesn't mean it's shadow, doesn't mean it's something that you should fear, right? Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Why? Not because that's a nice thing to say when I'm feeling fucking fearful, but it's because there's literally no such thing as evil. So I'm hearing that there's, you know, taking space, taking time in nature, giving yourself breathing room around this. Again, it's like, Spirit's like, I'm just really got to make like, I feel like you're kind of lost in it right now, pile number 4, and your guides are like, we just need a little bit of space. We just need you to open up just a little bit. And then poosh, like you're going to have so much clarity come through, and you're going to feel so free, and it's going to feel so obvious. You're going to be like, oh my God, what the fuck? But because of it, you're not going to go back there again, right? It's going to create a lot of accelerated motion. It's almost like the floodgates. Look, it's almost like this tiny little spark, right? Tiny little thing, and it's like the floodgates open. And I feel like it's going to create a lot of momentum in all areas of your life, right? So again, it's just like spirit works in mysterious ways. It's like we think it's just because of this one little tiny thing that's happening on the level of the 3D, right? Yes, that's to be a catalyst, but spirit cares about what that catalyst is going to unlock within you. And it seems like this is going to unlock a wellspring, right? We literally have river here. So, I mean, this is beautiful. And I feel like even just you guys coming to this reading, you don't even have to have an answer to whatever riddle it is that you're trying to solve about the situation, or whatever you're trying to, like, hopefully gain some peace around, right? It's like just this one within itself is hopefully bringing some light codes into your field so you can relax, right? Just relax. The other day I was in my car and I was like thinking about something. And I was a little bit anxious, and my eyes literally landed on a building across from the way, and it took a little bit of time for my mind to register what the word was, and it literally said relax. And I think it was like a massage place, and I was like, oh, thank you, spirit. That's all I needed to hear. And so I feel like your guides are saying that all pile number 4 needs to hear is that they can relax. They need to go take a hike. They need to go sit by the river. They need to go do something where that brings them back into alignment with the perspective of things. You're too close up to the screen of your consciousness, whatever is playing out in your field of awareness, that you forget that you're in the play, right? You're so close to the screen that you think you're part of it, but when you zoom out, you can see all the people, you see all the characters, you see the people coming out from stage, and you're like, oh yeah, it's just a play, right? You see things from the divine mind through the eyes of God, through your connection to source. And so, there's no bad thing here. This is part of the journey of being on a planet of polarity, on a planet that operates on polarity. And honestly, that's what makes Earth such a rich learning ground, right? This is what makes this such a powerful university, is the polarity is so polarized. It's so intense. The types of realities that can exist, that can coexist on one planet, you guys, the types of fucking realities and how different they can be is like when you really think about it, it's insane, right? Because it's not like that. It's not like that on other planets where there's been a lot of fine tuning, and it's more dense with light, right? And less compromised, I should say, less fractalized. And so there's a lot less, that polarity is a lot less, to the point where it's just much more harmonious, much more in flow, much more unified, right? But on Earth here, it is very inharmonious, and it is very white in some places, and it is very dark in some other places. I meant very light and very white, very black, very light, very dark, that kind of thing, that very polarized kind of sense. And so this is just another beautiful way to kind of extract yourself from this game, and kind of to remember that, this is part of also why we take birth, is because Matias De Stefano from Gaia, I love how he says it. It's like, he was on an Aubrey Marcus interview recently, and he was essentially like, we think that we want to be, God again, and we just want to merge back, and we don't want to take birth, but it's boring. It's boring to know that you're God all the time, right? We want a little contrast. We want a little fucking drama. We do. We want to be the housewives of Earth, We want to be the real housewives of Earth. And get a little drama in our field, because it's like, why not? Why the fuck not? So it seems like whatever's going on, spirit, you're going to have like a very humorous approach to it. Looking back on it, you're going to be like, oh my God, like even a year from now, you're going to be like, I was stressing so much. And you're going to be like, never again are you going to take yourself so seriously, or take this life so seriously. And that's one of the beautiful catalysts of what this is here for, pile number 4, is it's like, you're going to see the humor behind this entire experience, this entire incarnation for what it is. Like, we get so lost in it, and it's like, you could die in 30 seconds. I hope. I mean, if it's in alignment, then I hope, whatever's in alignment and is the most right for you is what you feel good and surrendered to. But, ultimately, I have to watch myself sometimes, because some people be projecting some shit onto me, but not you guys. You guys are cool. So, yeah, I think I'm going to leave this here for now, but there's a lot of accelerated momentum forward. Don't take the bait of assuming you guys are doing anything wrong or something bad's going to happen. This is less about less about the thing itself, and much more about just opening more space for the divine mind to come through and work through you, and for you ultimately to experience greater levels of peace, greater levels of bliss, greater levels of fulfillment. And they're not these big things that we can make them seem in the West. They're very subtle, and because they're very subtle, they permeate everything. They permeate it doesn't matter what we're doing, it permeates all aspects. It's not compartmentalized is what I'm saying, right? The more subtle it is, the more permeable it is to all of our experiences, whether they're good, whether they're bad, whether they're things that we want or whether they're things that we don't want, right? So pile number 4, you're on the right path, you're doing the right thing. Go to the river, go to the forest, go get out in nature, make some space. Don't think about it too much, and you guys are going to have a huge breakthrough, and I feel like it's going to be this huge moment of epiphany where you're like, oh my god, the entire world makes sense, like my entire life makes sense, or just like at least like you're going to feel so good is what I'm hearing. But right now it feels a little bit contracted. It feels a little bit like, oh my god, you're lost in your mind, you're lost in the thoughts, the overthinking, making it mean something about you that it actually inherently doesn't mean, right? It doesn't mean anything about the truth of who you are, right? It's just, again, just karma, forms, energy, gunas, elements just playing themselves out. So pile number 4, I hope this brought clarity, peace, confirmation to your heart. Please like this video, comment below, and subscribe. I'll see you soon.